Hello everyone, welcome back to Stalevar. Today I'm again alone in this recording. Sylv and Rudi had kind of a busy time now, so I wanted to get this out after I finished my Flying Dutchman project. So that I just had something to show you. And in today's video, I started on a new small building above the train tracks, like a sort of a filling station. And before I start on that, I now, as you can see now, finished the train tracks and surroundings itself. So placing those hazard signs at the edge of the platform, extra cables, as you can see here. I really wanted to have something extra because just the edge of the concrete didn't make any realistic sense at all. So placing those. Also, as you just saw me made like electrical switch cabinet thingy for control stuff. I'm not sure what it could have been. As I said in I think 2 episodes ago, the story of the factory is not really gonna be realistic in a sense that this filling station on the train is not really in a tank factory, because mostly it's like in a factory where they refine metals or stone or sand, and those products will then get filled in the trains to get transported into other countries or other factories that need them. But here, it's like a tank factory, but also, I guess, the leftovers of parts of minerals or materials can be transported out of the factory via the train. So maybe that's some kind of a realistic-ish story, but not sure. I just wanted to have something where the trains of the coaster rides through, where also the train tracks of the train itself also pass through. So that was basically my idea here. And here I'm starting on the concrete framework of this small building. I also used these concrete walls, but after finishing this building, I was not completely sure if the full concrete structure was well enough, or it didn't feel that well. I'm not sure how that comes, but because maybe all the surrounding buildings that we made before are more like steel and bricks, so this will be the first like concrete. I think maybe it's maybe possible that's Rudi made something more concrete. Honestly, I forgot, but so I was not really that happy after I finished it, so I also added some, you will see that in the end, some metal structures, and of course extra props and pipes and stuff. So I also here used the corrugated roofs to make some kind of tilted roof, and also to have another texture for the walls of the larger part of the building, as you can see here. Also with some kind of overhang. I'm not sure that you call it that, but let's call it overhang. So the building was not just one big box with a smaller part and a bigger part. So I also let's say levels or extruding parts of the building, and also the roof of the smaller parts that you can see here will also have an extra, later on, an extra tilted roof next to it. Yeah, so here I'm making a little sidewalk for workers that have to go to the top of the building to check the machinery, the pumps and stuff. I'm not gonna include any interior because you may or you may not know I don't like interiors in Planet Coaster. Mainly because, yeah, the lighting is not that great. But also because, yeah, we don't have that many small pieces. And yeah, you can make something decent, but it takes a lot of time and effort. But I really want to focus on the exterior here. So the outside, make it as good as possible. So that's why, yeah, I just focused on that. So no interior. Maybe someone else want to do it. I'm not sure, but I don't think I will do that in this this building or even in this whole project. But we will see, of course. See what happens. So here I'm covering the top part of the building. I do change a little bit back and forth with those corrugated roofs because, yeah, it was maybe a little bit too much. And I also decided to have extra wooden sides and to fill out of the blanks. Maybe, yeah, also a little bit not aligned perfectly, but a little bit like industrial and maybe some destruction also. I don't made that much destruction. I basically only did some missing planks here and there. So that's basically it. In the end, at the very end of the video, I started on making the environment more, yeah, deserted and covered with foliage. But I must say, during building, I forgot to record most of that. So it will only be a very small part, a couple of minutes at the very end where I do that. It was like a 20-minute time lapse that I did record. So I just noticed, oh, I forgot to record. So I did some extra work on it and I added that in the video. So I think the building here is basically done. And yeah, now I'm starting on the conveyor belt that transports the materials from the factory building on the right. So the building that Rudi made in the beginning. From the roof of that to the top of the new building I made here. So I guess I can make the conveyor belt can go through this building because the building on the right here is not some processing plant for the materials. So it's where the coaster beginning dark right part is. So I think it would be a good idea to have this conveyor strip run through the building and to the other side of it, and maybe we add something there that can be related to the materials and the stuff that gets transported to the trains. Not sure what that can be, but yeah, I guess we can do that at the very end. Or yeah, someone else can do it, of course. We can see. So here I tilted the conveyor belt a bit so the two buildings match. And the last part is like basically horizontal, so we can, like I said earlier, extend the conveyor belt over the building to the other side. So that part is kind of done. I will revisit the conveyor belt later on, I guess, because I have to add some interior, the wheels and belts and extra details. Because now it's just the outside framework that I made. But meanwhile, I'm placing extra cables and electrical cabinets, and of course pipes. That's always important. In this, I think, adding so many pipes in this project will make it a lot better than if you don't. And yeah, I try to make all the pipes connect and be somewhat realistic on the places where they're going or where they come from, but let's just say these pipes come from the engine or machine that's in the top of this building. The engine that powers the conveyor belt or something like that, or the machine that loads the materials inside of the train cargo trailers that you can see here. And here I also connect the large pipes that goes to the large tower I made, I think 2 episodes ago, where the exhaust of all the buildings and machines are collecting together and exiting the building or exiting the tower on the top. So that's also something I try to connect all together with a large pipe system, and all the pipes are connected to the one on the tower. So that at least is somewhat that is realistic. And as I said earlier here, I first wanted to use the conveyor, like the Western engine machine belts, but they were way too high, and then I would have stuff sticking out of the bottom of this structure, so I didn't do that. I just took black basic shapes that's a little bit reflective, and I guess that works well for some kind of conveyor belt. I don't think it needs to be that detailed, as it's just something that's there. And I also include a lot of foliage on it at the end of the video, so that basically it's all overgrown and it's all not that visible, the details at least. So, and here making little supports for this this structure I made. Also extra cables. I think also a panel somewhere underneath. And also, I try to not just put a support there and basically make that and call it a day. I just want to have extra details, as you can see here. You may not notice it, but that's maybe the point, that you don't notice it at first, but that the overall look is a little bit more detailed. These extra cables do a lot, I think. And then I decided also to put some cables on the sides of this structure. I thought, why not? I was busy with the cables anyway, so I just put extra stuff here. It's always a good idea to just place extra content or stuff on your walls or pillars or stuff. You must try not to go overboard, of course, because you can also do too much if it's all way too cluttered. But I think finding the right balance is kind of the challenge that you have to overcome, I guess. So after finishing that, I'm starting with filling the whole area with props and barrels, as you can see, crates, containers, all kinds of rubbish that could be there. Realistically, for just an abandoned factory, there will be a lot of stuff and crap lying there. So also the water tower for the train, and I also decided just another metal tower I think it looked well. It looked nice. So also this container with all those how do you call that? The litter bins, sacks, or well, you know what I mean. Which one? Here, a small metal cart. I was thinking about making some kind of track, but I didn't really, after all, because the wheels were so big that I just can see they just would be pulling that kind of cart around with just kind of a truck or something, I guess. So I also am copying the edges of the concrete here, so that we have the same edge as on the train side. And yeah, adding more and more stuff. I think for this, you cannot. Well, you can, but it's if you place a lot of stuff down, and then afterwards, in this kind of style, at least, add like a lot of foliage in between to make it so abandoned. Then I think you can just keep on adding props until basically everything is covered. But I wanted to have also some kind of passageway here for the carts, basically. So I placed like a cart in the middle of the passageway and moved the concrete here aside. And afterwards I will use some terrain paint on the edges of the props and a lot of foliage to make it obvious that this is like a passageway where this kind of carts with cargo will be transported through, for maybe just the oil for the engines or the fuel or whatever. I guess that can work. And yeah, adding some textures, ground textures, making the edges of the terrain a little bit more consistent, because they were all over the place. And here you can see the cut, the part that I didn't record. All the foliage is now there. So yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, it's nothing I can undo about now. So at least I have still a little bit of work I can show that I done on the sides of the buildings and stuff. So basically the part that I lost, well, not lost, I forgot to record, was the foliage on the road here, or the passageway, if you will. And after that I just started to do the same on the train side and the building. I do think I will add more on this, because I was just finishing up this episode, and after that I thought, yeah, maybe I can do that little bit of extra, but I think that, yeah, I can do that in a later stage, of course. So I guess I can leave you guys now with I think it's a couple of minutes left of this speed build. So I will give you a little bit of music in the last couple of minutes. After that you will get some cinematics of this part I did. I hope you will enjoy them, and thank you so much for watching. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next video then. Goodbye.